Reality is fragile. Layers of code, history, and perception stitched together. What happens when the seams split? When forgotten signals resurface, and the familiar becomes something else entirely? Welcome to Glitch Reality, where every story is a distortion, a crack in the system, a glimpse into what might never be seen. Because sometimes the glitch is true. This week's story is about mirrors. Every mirror holds a truth, some clearer than others. We look into them and see into ourselves. But what if the reflection wasn't following you, but leading? What if you knew every move before you knew what move? Ethan Cole just wanted a fresh start, a quiet place to write, disappear from the noise of the world. But in Greywick Towers, the quiet hides something deeper, something watching, waiting. And when the mirror blurs the lines between fate and free will, how long before you stop trusting the man in the glass? This is the Reflection Room. Buildings have memories. Brick and wood, steel and glass. They absorb moments like smoke caught in curtains. Laughter, violence, secrets. Over time, the walls start to remember, and sometimes they whisper them back. Greywick Towers was never meant to stand this long. Built in the winter of 1923. Cheap materials, rushed construction, people called it a bad luck building. Before the cement even got dried. Fires, suicides, a child who vanished from the 7th floor. Tenants came and went. Most didn't stay that long. But the building, it stayed. It watched. They came from the mirrors. No one remembers who bought it, or when. 10 feet tall, heavy wooden frames, carvings that don't match any known pattern. Some say it was made. It wasn't made, it was found though. And once it was here, Greywick started to change. Sometimes, late at night, tenants would hear footsteps in the empty hallways, see reflections in the glass that didn't quite match, things they told themselves that were tricks of light until it was too late. And now, there's Ethan Cole, another name on the lease, another lonely soul looking for a fresh start. But Greywick doesn't care about fresh starts, it only cares about the end. Welcome to the Reflection Room. Ethan Cole had been up since dawn. 2 cups of bad coffee, 3 restless hours on the road, and now this. A sticky brass key, a rusting door, and a new life he wasn't sure he wanted. Apartment 4B, 4th floor, back corner, cheap rent, no references. It was the kind of deal that came with a catch. Ethan just didn't know what it was yet. Well, home sweet home, Ethan said with a soft chuckle. The apartment smelled like dust and old paint. The walls were stained with shadows, faint outlines where pictures once hung. A single window let in a silver grey light, barely cutting through all the gloom. Ethan says to himself, could be worse, could be rats, or cockroaches, or even ghosts. He laughed softly. Right, let's not start with that. Then he saw it. At the end of the narrow hallway, the mirror. 10 feet tall, its surface dark and uneven, like liquid frozen in mid-ripple. The frame was wood, but wrong. Too many sharp curves, carvings that felt familiar, but foreign. All at the same time. He hadn't seen it in the photos when he had signed the lease. With an unease in his voice, Ethan says, weird place for a mirror. Ethan's reflection stared back, but the room behind it wasn't quite the same. Shadows stretched longer, shaped blurges at the edges, like the glass remembered something the room had forgotten. With a nervous laugh, okay, yeah, definitely moving that tomorrow. But Ethan wouldn't move the mirror. Not tomorrow. Not ever. Some things, they stay exactly where they want to be. And the building, it was listening. Night settled heavy over the city, wrapping around Ethan's new apartment like a wet blanket. The kind of dark that pressured against windows, waiting to get in. He sat cross-legged on the floor, cardboard boxes still untouched, a half-eaten sandwich on a plate beside him. Ethan muttered to himself, "Day one, no cockroaches, no serial killer neighbours. That's a win." He wasn't sure if it was the silence or the emptiness that felt heavier. Probably both. He scrolled through his phone, news articles, random posts, but his eyes kept drifting back towards that mirror. It sat there, hulking in the corner of the cupboard. Hallway. Cold. Heavy. Its surface was dark now, reflecting only silvers of the room. But it pulled his attention, like gravity. Forcing a laugh, Ethan goes, "It's just a mirror, dude. Chill." But a soft knock, 3 soft knocks. Ethan says with a tenseness in his voice, "Hello?" And again, from the other side of the living room all this time. The walls in the old buildings, thin as paper, probably a neighbour. Probably. You can hear Ethan walks to the wall, listens, and he hears his neighbour. "Don't watch it when it's..." And a burst of radio static. Ethan backing away from the wall. "Okay, nope. Not getting in whatever that was." He sits down, flicks on the TV, then a sudden burst of laughter comes from a sitcom. "Ha ha ha!" on the TV. A false comfort. He tries to focus on the noise, let it fill the empty space, but the mirror still pulled at the corner of his vision, reflecting, waiting. Midnight passes. The clocks tick louder, but Ethan snorts softly. And then, a faint scratch. Like a scratch on glass. In the dark, something moved. Just a flicker in the mirror. The scratch goes fainter. Outside you can hear the bustling city, picking up for the morning, birds chirping, the distant hum of traffic, and everyday life resuming. By the morning, the night felt like a dream. Thin, forgettable, Ethan blamed the cheap wine and his overactive imagination. But the mirror. The mirror was still there, looming in the hallway, its black surface now caught in a stream of pale sunlight. Dust motes swirling in front of it like tiny drifting stars. Ethan yawns as he sips his coffee. "Alright, big guy, let's see what you're about." He taps his knuckles on the glass. Tap, tap. The sound is deeper than it should be, almost like it echoes inside the mirror. Ethan with a serious tone. "Weird?" There was something off. The reflection didn't feel right. His own face stared back, but the angle was slightly wrong. Like the room inside the glass was a step out of sync with the room he stood in. Letters, thin, jagged as if traced by something sharp, 4 words clear as day appeared on the mirror. Do not look away. Silence. Ethan, now shaken. Nope. He backs away, nearly tripping over one of his boxes, and he spills his coffee and breaks the cup on the floor. But curiosity is a poison. It sleeps in. Hours later, the words were still there, taunting him from the glass. Now, no matter how many times he tried to wipe them away, they were still there. Ethan takes a seat at his desk. The mirror is now in his line of sight. A ticking clock grows louder. His fingers drum on the tabletop. Okay, so what? What do you want me to look at? You've got my attention. He pulls the chair in front of him out and sits in front of the mirror. A heavy scrape across the floor as he brings the chair in front of it. Minutes pass, then an hour, nothing. Just his reflection. Until a faint knock from inside the mirror. Ethan whispers tentatively, "Hello?" His reflection smiles, but Ethan's not smiling. Ethan says panickedly, "What the?" The reflection raises its hand, slow, deliberate, and with one finger, it wrote across the glass. Watch the walls. Ethan in a state of shock. What the hell is happening here? There was an atmosphere in the air, like the quiet before a storm. Everything tense, but silent. Ethan couldn't look away, even after his reflection smiled. Even after it moved without him moving, he was sat there, breathless, shallow, hands cold against the wooden table, the words on the glass buried in his mind. Watch the walls. Ethan whispers to himself, "You're not real. This isn't real." Another knock from inside the mirror. But the mirror had other ideas. Okay, you want me to watch? I'm watching. The reflection tilted its head, almost curious. Then it did something Ethan hadn't expected it. It reached out. Jesus! But the hand didn't break through. Instead, it traced another message into the foggy glass. It sees you. Who sees me? Who are you? Ethan spun around. The walls, they were changing. Hairline cracks spidered across the paint, slow at first, but then faster, branching out like veins. No, this isn't happening, no! But the reflection, it didn't panic. It stood there, smiling, and behind it, something moved. Just a shadow at first, a shape in the dark. Ethan's heart pounded in his ears. He realized the truth too late. The mirror wasn't showing him. It was showing what was behind him. There's nothing there! A distorted voice. Don't turn around again. But of course, Ethan did. There was a deafening static in the air. And then, silence. Only the faint dripping of water echoes into the void. There was nothing left on the mirror. Only fragments, razor-sharp pieces, scattered across the apartment floor. But Ethan wasn't there anymore. He woke into darkness. Not the comfort of a black room at night, but a thick, suffocating void. like the world had been hollowed out around him. The air was, You're not me! Ethan said in a terrified tone. The walls of the void cracked open, light spilling through, but it wasn't warm. It was cold, sterile, like hospital lights. And behind Ethan, shadows stretched, impossibly tall, moving in ways that no living thing should be able to move. What are you? The reflection's mouth opened, too wide, its jaw stretching down until it spilt. But instead of a voice, it was his own thoughts, spilling out in cold, endless loop. You saw it, you can't unsee it. You are it now. Ethan turned to run, but the ground was gone. The mirror, the reflection. It followed. Its limbs snapped, elongating, dragging him down into the glass, in the hollow space between where the real Ethan was always meant to be. Smash! Followed by a soft buzz like a faint radio. They found the apartment days later, empty, mirror gone, but on the wall where it once stood, something had scratched a message deeper into the plaster. Objects in mirrors may be closer than they appear. Some reflections reveal more than just our faces. Sometimes they show what we can't admit to ourselves, and in the end, is it the mirror that's cracked, or are we the ones that are cracked? Until next time, keep watching, but remember, sometimes your reflection watches back. And this is where we leave Ethan, trapped in a reflection and reality. Thanks for tuning in to this episode of Glitch Reality. If you've enjoyed this dive into the darkness, be sure to subscribe, leave a review, and share the glitch with others. Every follow helps me keep stories coming. And trust me, there's only going to be some spectacular stories. Until next time, watch your reflection, because you never know who's watching back. I'm going to make episode 15 of this series a user-submitted experience. So if you have any stories, please check the information below and you can send your email to me and I will upload your story and read it on the 15th episode of Season 1. Thank you very much for tuning in. I've been your host, Kieran. This is Glitch Reality.